So today we're going to talk about coordinate planes. This may be a review for some of you. This may be new for some of you. This may just need to be a refresher for some of you. So we should have this pink paper all cut out. They should be cut out all the dotted lines. Okay? On this it says cut on the dashed lines, which you already did, and fold on the solid lines. It says this side will not be seen. When it says that, that does not mean you fold this way. That means you go to the blank side and you fold it in towards the blank side. So some of you, I think, just folded it backwards, so you just need to fold it going the other direction.
I want to see the smile.
What does Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 stand for? Does anyone know? Quadrant. So Q, when we talk about coordinate planes, is the word quadrant. So I have quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4. It always starts in the upper right-hand corner and it goes counterclockwise. You do have to know that. You do have to have that memorized. Is that clear? So then what we're going to do is we're going to open this up and we're going to take our coordinate plane and we are going to glue it down to the inside. And I want you to be really careful. Everyone look up here. Notice I did not put it towards the very top. I put it directly in the middle. So when I close my quadrant 1, it is over quadrant 1. Do you guys see that? When I close quadrant 2, it's over quadrant 2. When I close 3, it's over 3. And when I close 4, it's over 4. So make sure it is in the middle so that way when you're closing your quadrants, it works out for you. Okay. Alright, we should have that glued down by now. So now we can start going over all of this. Couple things I need to know. Guys, this is going to be one of those lessons that if we're talking a lot during it, it's going to take us forever to get through. And you do have homework over it tonight. So, couple things we need to know before we can even get started. If you were to look at all of your extra white pieces of paper that you have cut up, what's one of the first things you think you need to know about a coordinate plane? Blaine? I got to know my x-axis. So what's my x-axis? Which one of these is my x-axis? The one that goes up and down or the one that goes side to side, everyone? Side to side. Very good. So I'm going to take that x-axis and I'm going to dip it in my glue. And then I'm going to glue it right here. That is my x-axis. So if I have to know my x-axis, that also means I have to know my what?
Y-axis.
And which one's the y-axis?
The one that goes up and down.
Good. The other one. The one that goes up and down. So I'm going to glue this right here. Yes, ma'am. Just write it down, then use your pencil and write it in. Okay. Guys, I don't want to have to keep telling you to stop talking, because, like I said, we'll never get through this. So, I have to know my x and my y-axis. What else do I have to know before I can get started? Brock? I have to know my origin. What is my origin, Brock? What do you mean by the middle? Be more specific. Okay, so this point right here, everyone put a dot right here. That dot right here is what we call the origin, and I'm going to put the origin up at the top because there's no real room to write it. And then I'm going to draw an arrow up to it. Your origin is what we call the starting point. It is where you guys will always start from. You start at the origin no matter what. Every single time you graph a point, it starts at the origin. So no matter what, you always need to start at the origin. Every single time. What's the next thing I have to know before I can get started? Cooper?
Like where you write here, or like in the parentheses, which number comes first.
Okay, so how do I know which one comes first?
You see the X and the Y axis.
Very good. You are right, bud. So at the bottom, I'm going to glue in that X, comma, Y. This is what we call an ordered pair. We've already talked about ordered pairs once before. But ordered pairs are always written in this order. Always written in this order. X is always first, Y is always second. Think about it like the alphabet, guys. X comes before Y. Okay? Has to go that way. You cannot have it go the other way at all. Okay? You have...
I had another teacher tell me you have to run before you jump.
Absolutely, and that's how we're going to graph it. You have to run before you jump. I don't care what phrase your other teachers have told you. Use whatever phrase you have learned in the past, because there's a lot of them. Okay? So now, I want to go to those pluses and minuses, because each quadrant is always going to be exactly the same. My X's will always be a plus or a minus. My Y's will always be a plus or a minus, and those are never, ever, ever going to change. So if I look at quadrant 1, which is this one right here, my X's are what? Pluses. My Y's are what? Pluses. This quadrant right here, I have plus and plus, which means quadrant 1 has to be a plus plus. So I'm going to grab my one that says plus plus. And I am going to glue it down right here. Quadrant 1 will always be a positive and a positive. Always, always, always. And that's the quadrant, guys, we've worked in before, haven't we? So you have already worked in quadrant 1 before. It'll always be a plus plus, a positive positive. It is two positive numbers. If we go to quadrant number 2, my X's are what? Minuses or negatives, and my Y's are what?
Pluses.
So I have to have which one? X comes first, so what should come first? So it should be my negative and then my positive. So make sure you grab that right one. It needs to be negative first, positive second. It has to go in that order. If it does not go in that order, we did something wrong. So quadrant 3. What do you think quadrant 3 is? Good, it's your negative, negative. And then process of elimination means that my last quadrant, quadrant 4, has to be what? What does the last quadrant have to be, guys? It's got to be your positive minus, your positive negative, plus, however you say it. They will always be in that order. If they are not in that order, we are doing something wrong. Questions so far? Okay, we now have 4 ordered pairs that we need to graph on our coordinate plane. So I'm going to grab this one first. So -1, -1, -1. First of all, based on the signs, which quadrant does this go in, everyone?
Negative.
Good, it goes in quadrant 3. So we can put this in quadrant 3 because they're both negative, negative. Because it has to go in quadrant 3. Now, how do I plot this point? I have to actually graph it. Where do I put a dot on my coordinate plane? Riley?
When you put it at -1, on the corner where it's like the first corner,
So where do I start at?
can I just point to it?
Sure.
-1 would be, well, you have to start here, but then the actual point would be right here.
Okay, so how do you get that?
Because this is the origin point.
Yep.
And then, it goes to -1, -1, this is -1, this is -1, so it'll go right here.
So first of all, do I go to the left or do I go down first?
Left.
Good, so go to the left first, then go down 1 as Riley said, and you put a dot right on that point, and I'm going to draw an arrow. That way I know that that's that point. Okay, next one, we're going to do -3, 3. It's a -3 and a +3. So based on the -3, +3, what quadrant should that go in?
Quadrant 2.
It should go in quadrant 2. Where do I start, everyone? Where do I start, everyone? Good, start on your origin. Then I need to go 3. Do I go to the left 3 or do I go up 3?
Left.
So I go to the left 3, and then what do I do? Then I go up 3, and I put a dot. And I'm going to draw an arrow in this case. It is always left or right, and then up or down. That's those phrases. You have to walk before you can jump. You have to run before you can jump. You have to go to the ladder before you can go up it. Whatever phrase your previous teachers have told you, keep that going. Memorize that phrase. Okay, here's the next one we'll do. 2, 2. I have 2, 2. Does 2, 2 go in quadrant 1 or quadrant 4?
1.
So I'm going to glue that down in quadrant 1. Where do I start, everyone? Origin, good. Do I go left or right 2 or up and down 2? I go right 2, and then what do I do? Up 2, and then I put a dot. Left or right, then up or down. Last one that we have, 4, -1. What quadrant does 4, -1 go in, everyone? Goes in quadrant 4 because it is a positive then a negative. Now, how do I graph this? Where do I start? Where do I start, everyone? The origin. Now what do I do?
Go over 4.
What direction?
Right.
Go to the right 4. And then what do I do?
Down 1.
Go down 1. Put a dot. And an arrow. So, you have to be able to A, graph the ordered pairs. Any questions on graphing ordered pairs? Okay, you also have to be able to tell me the ordered pair of a point. Meaning if I give you this point right here, I'm going to zoom in for you so you can see that a little bit better. If I give you that point right there, I want you to write down right here what is the ordered pair of that point. What did we get, everyone?
-4.
Good. -4 is what we should get. What if I gave you this one right here? Do the exact same thing. Tell me the ordered pair of letter B. What is it, everyone? -5, 3. Does it have to be in that order?
Yes.
If I wrote 3, -5, is that the same thing?
No.
No, good. Okay, let's come over here. Let's do C. Write down the ordered pair for C for me, please. What is it, everyone?
1, -4.
Good. 1, -4. And the last one I'll have you guys do is this one here, letter D. Tell me the ordered pair of letter D. What did we get, everyone?
3, 4.
3, 4. So we have to be able to A, graph, just like we did first. B, you have to be able to tell me the ordered pair of a point. And C, you have to be able to tell me what quadrant they are located in. So B is located in what? What is it, everyone? Quadrant 2. C is located in what? C is located in quadrant 4. A is located in quadrant 3, and D is located in quadrant 1. We have to have all of that memorized. Is that understood?
Yes.
Okay, so here's what we're going to do now. We now need to glue this into our notebook. So you are going to take the one that says ordered pairs and graphing. We are going to glue that down to the very top. And I'm also going to write 11, 6, 19. I will then glue the next white piece of paper down where it says I can locate, name, and graph ordered pairs on a coordinate plane. Then finally, I will glue on the back of the pink where it says this side will not be seen. That is where you will glue. And I will glue that down. Last thing I want you to do, once you have it all glued down, I want you to write somewhere on that paper where you have room, graph left or right first, up and down second. And then I want you to write whatever phrase you want to remember. You gotta walk before you can jump. Whatever phrase you want to know, write that down. Once you have all of that written down, you may put your glue, scissors, clean up your area. Don't pack up quite yet though. Just clean up the glue, scissors, any supplies, and we'll go from there in just a second.